Welcome everybody to the Testify podcast where you share your personal testimony from Pentecost. I hope everybody's having a good day and hope many blessings are coming out in everyone's lives who are listening. I want to introduce my co-host for today, Brother Josh.
What's up, guys? How's it going? We got another episode of the Testify podcast.
Yes, sir. And I'd like to introduce our guests for today, Brother Gavin and Sister Katelin.
Hi.
Hi.
What's up,
Glad
guys?
to be here.
I'm glad that you guys are here. And would you guys like to just introduce your guys' names, more about yourself? And
Yeah, I'm Gavin, as most of you might know. But we started a church here in Rock Springs about 6 years ago. And
This is the result.
yeah.
this is the result.
Hi, I'm Katelin. I came about 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and I love it.
Oh, yeah. So, on today's episode, we're specifically doing Sister Katelin's testimony, and I just, how would you like to start that?
I want to kind of start on how, not really how I grew up, but in the spectate of where church is now compared to when I was.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a Christian church, but not a Pentecostal church. So my family always believed in Christians and you could dress however you want, and they were always never really like, you have to do this, you have to do that. It was always like, you can kind of do whatever you want and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So it was mainly my dad and my dad's side of the family that used to go. So when we moved here, I would say about 10 years ago, we used to live in Lyman and Mountain View.
Mm-hmm.
So there in Lyman, we used to go to church, but it was never like all the time.
Yeah.
It was like maybe once a year.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah. So when we moved here, me and my dad got into going with my grandma, which is his mom. And she is kind of like the head, like runs everything, always is in charge of mostly everything. And so we moved literally like right next to her church so that we could just walk there.
Really?
Yeah. And so my dad passed about 2 years ago, and that kind of, it was always my brother and my mom's side against me and my dad. So when I lost my half, it was like 2 against 1. And when I turned 17, it was kind of like me and my mom never got along. We never met eye to eye.
Mm-hmm.
It was always, she was right. It was never, I could speak.
Mm-hmm.
So she kicked me out when I was 17, and I got my own apartment and thought I was doing great because I was 17 and moved out. So I kind of...
You moved out at 17?
Mm-hmm.
Legally?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did my whole senior year kind of by myself, but I was in a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And so I moved in with him, and we were together for maybe 3 years. And then he decided to cheat on me, and then I had to leave there by graduation. So I had like less than a month to move out. I had no job. I had no money. Like everything of my income went to them. It was 7 people. So I was washing clothes, I was feeding, I was making food, I was cleaning, all for 7 people. That is a lot of people to take care of. Like you think, oh, 2 people are fine. Like you and your brother or 4 people are fine. When it comes to 7 people, that's crazy. So
Wait, were those 7 people your friends or family?
it was my boyfriend at the time and
Oh, wow.
his whole family.
Okay,
Oh,
that makes
wow.
sense.
So after I moved out there, I decided to get into my party phase
Oh
because
no.
I was 18.
Were you
So
still in school?
after I
No.
moved out, no.
Okay.
I just graduated
Mhm.
because they made me move out by graduation or before graduation. They didn't even come to my graduation, nothing. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, the past 3 years have been literally nothing. And so after I moved out there, I got my own apartment and I started hanging out with the wrong people. And I got into like drinking and vaping and drugs like that. And it wasn't the best decision, but it was at the time of my mind. And so we used to drive back and forth from Evanston.
Mhm.
And one morning, we left Evanston about 7 a.m. to come back. And we got hit by a semi on our way back.
With your friends?
hmm
Oh
Oh,
no.
wow.
So,
Oh no.
realizing it now, both of those two people that were in the car are like the closest people to us. And so, at the time, I lost my job because of the crash. We got stuck in Evanston for 5 hours. They didn't do anything. They didn't run no tests. They didn't run anything. They wouldn't even call my friend's mom, and she was 13 at the time, 13 or 14 at the
What?
time. They wouldn't even call her till we showed up at the hospital. That's when they called her.
Oh.
And I was like, nobody's, but where we crashed was not the best service. We completely lost service. Like, and so we got on one of the sisters heading like right out of Evanston. He hit me there, and I literally, my whole car shut off. Nothing. I couldn't do
Wow.
anything besides literally like glide down the hill and off to a turnoff. And so when we finally got there, that's when we called and was like, hey, we need like officers or we need something because we were stuck. We couldn't even do anything. And so after that, we finally went home and everything. And so I decided to live with one of my close friends and her mom and brother. And after realizing what they were going through, and they had, I guess, so the brother's dad, he's schizo.
Mhm.
So he would come in the house late at night. He would slam the doors down and crawl up in the ceilings because he'd think there's people up there. It was a wild situation to be in. But realizing it now, I feel like that was a part of my testimony that I can look at now because that is the closest person to me, is my best friend. And when me and her mom is still with the guy, so she still lives it till this day.
Wow.
And a lot of people, she doesn't show it, she doesn't nothing. And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How do you sit here and just deal with that every day? Because when I was living there, I lost my mind.
Yeah, I
Like,
would too.
I
Dude,
can't with that.
Moms are like that, bro.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy.
It is so crazy to think of it now because if I was still stuck in that situation, I don't know where I'd be. Like, it was hard. Like, he would throw things at you. He would, like, literally make your mind insane just because of what he was doing.
Was he like doing any drugs or?
We think so, but we can't confirm
Oh
it.
wow. So
Yeah.
did that experience living around him, did that like kind of turn you to more using or?
It turned me more into I want to get out of here, but I also want to save her.
Oh wow.
Like, I want to bring her with me, but she's only 14 at the time. I
Mhm.
couldn't do anything. Like, I was stuck in the middle where I was like, I have to better myself, but I can't better all of them.
Mhm.
So he was the reason we got kicked out of our apartment in Green River because he was making too much ruckus and everything like that. So we had to move out and we had no money. Neither one of us had jobs because Village Inn closed down and that's where we worked. So we decided to, I guess, move in to a hotel. We lived there for 3 or 4 months. And after that, we separated. I went on my own way, and she went on hers. And I didn't talk to her for like 3 or 4 years. And I just recently, like, we'd text, we'd talk, but it was never like, hey, do you want to hang out? Hey, do you want to go out or something? So, after we separated, I decided to live with an old coworker, and that's when, I guess we kind of met. I came to a gingerbread making contest kind of thing.
Here?
Mm-hmm.
At the church? Was that
Oh.
like a
It was in the
Christmas?
Yeah, it was a Christmas.
Wait, what year was this?
It was either 2020 or 2021.
2020 or 2021.
Wow, 2021?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, and you were 18 at this time?
I was
17?
17.
Oh, wow.
That was right before I moved out.
Wow.
As I came.
Gingerbread.
So explain this more. I think I've heard part of this.
Yeah. So when she walked in, I was like, man, she's hot. And I was like, I'm gonna try to talk to her. And so I went, and then we were building the gingerbread houses, and I was like, I didn't even start building mine yet, but I went into her and I said, I'm gonna be first place. And she was like, no, you're not. And I was like, watch. And then I was like, okay. And so then we were building, and I just used that example in the Bible where you just take broken pieces and make something beautiful out of it.
Yeah.
So I just did that.
That's Riz, bro.
So I just took broken pieces that people were like, oh, I can't use this piece. And I was just like, I'll take it. And
Oh, wow.
I just started building something. I got first place.
Wow.
And
Oh,
then
dude.
after that, I gave her the gift card that I won.
What was it?
It was a $5 gift card to Starbucks.
Oh,
And I was like, just take it. And she was like, no. And then after she left, I was like, that's going to be my wife. I don't know why.
Man.
I was just like, that's going to be my wife. And then
dude.
I just lived life from then on.
But
That's
it was
awesome.
crazy because everywhere I went, it didn't matter if I was at the store or just working or anything, I would see him.
Really?
Out of all of them, I would just see him.
So who invited you?
Erica. So I
Erica?
went to school with Erica, and I did a whole bunch of electives and stuff with her.
At the high
And-
school?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
I don't like, I remember, what's it called? It was one time when I first started coming here. You said that, like, what's it called? You remembered me. And I was like,
Mhm.
wait, what? I thought, and it's like, yo, wait. Like, I think it was old friend groups.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, we did like, what's it called? I was in these old friend groups. We did crazy stuff, and it was
Yeah.
like constant, like partying, this and that.
Mhm.
But what's it called? It's like, it's amazing that, like, you know, God is taking people from those groups and bring them to church, and
Yeah.
that's what, you know what I'm saying. But anyways, keep going.
No, I want to kind of go along with that because we all, like, a lot of us now, like, that are here, used to hang out with the same exact group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird to think because it's like, I knew you. Where
Mhm.
did I know you from? Or I knew you. But it's like we all have a connection, but nobody knows why.
That's the
That's
like the people that came here. I didn't really have like a close bond to, but I like, they were my acquaintances. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pretty crazy before, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just that just really amazed me. You know?
I was gonna say that. That's pretty cool. Like I've known you since 5th grade.
Yeah.
I'd known Sister Erica since I think 4th or 5th grade.
Really,
I knew you in high school. I knew Kevin in high school.
bro.
I knew a lot of people back in high school, bro. And it's like
Yeah.
it's pretty cool because we are a pretty small town, and it's just, man, it's just pretty cool to see a lot of your people that you never thought you'd get along with,
Yeah,
or people that from so different, like, I guess, aspects
Lifestyles.
and lifestyles just come together and,
Yeah.
and make a church out of that. It's pretty cool.
So you and Erica were taking electives together.
Mm-hmm. we used to take choir.
Oh,
So
dude.
we did ever since high school. We did choir, and that was like our favorite thing to do. I don't know why. It was so weird.
I did choir one time, dude. And I never
You
want to
said
do it
though.
again, bro. Dude, I'm gonna be honest, bro.
See, now they're on the church choir. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. That's awesome. So I heard a couple. I know this story of you guys finally coming to be, but you want to elaborate on that?
Oh yeah. So I was talking to my dad one day, and I was like, "How do you know for sure?" And he was like, "I don't know." He said like, "Go ask Bishop and Uncle Matt, whoever." And I was like, "Okay, I will." And then we went to LeGrand. I think it was Avalanche, yeah. And I went and I asked Bishop, and then, well, before I asked Bishop, I asked Uncle Matt, and Uncle Matt was like, "The way to know for sure is you got to wait 6 months.
Wow.
Just wait 6 months. Don't do anything. Don't start dating. Just wait 6 months." And I was like, "Okay." And then I went to Bishop and I asked him, and he was like, I went and then I went to talk to him the second day of Avalanche, and I was like, "What do you think?" And he was like, "Honestly, I don't know." And I was like, "Okay."
Uh-oh.
And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know." He's like, "Oh, just come back to me tomorrow or tonight." And I was like, "Okay." And so we went. Oh no, it was that night. Sister Scout, she came up and she was just talking to me, saying like, "You don't want to be married to the wrong one, because you don't know if they're gonna stick with it and all that." And
Right.
he said, "She's like, you just got to be careful of like who you marry." And then I was like, "Okay." And then I was waiting, and it was like right at like the 5 month mark, and I was like, that my dad was like, "Hey, do you want to go pick up Brother Deathridge with me?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay." And he was like, "You could ask Brother Deathridge if he's the one." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And we got there, we picked him up, and then we went to this restaurant, and we were just talking about how the church was growing and how he's going to be shocked to see how much youth is coming. And my dad was like, "I'll show you a picture." And he was showing a picture, or he found the picture, and he gave it to Brother Deathridge. And Brother Deathridge was just going through it, like looking at all the kids and all the girls, and then he zoomed in on Katelin and was like, "Is she the one?" And I was like, "Yeah, that." And he was like, "Do it, bro." He said, I
Wow.
could feel it in the Holy Ghost." He said, "Do it."
Wow.
And he's, "You don't have to do it right now." He said, "But
That's
you
awesome.
you could do it." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "That's cool. That's what's up." Because my dad said to ask him because he kind of warned me about another relationship that I was in, and he was like, "You're something's blocking you from your walk with God." And he was like, either like the only thing I could remember from the list was a relationship. And I was like, "Okay." And so I was like, "We're done." And that girl doesn't come anymore.
Wow.
And my dad was like, "That's proof right there. She wasn't coming for God. She was coming for you."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh." And here we are.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
dude. This ties into another question, and he doesn't know this, but I talked to Pastor about some stuff, and he's like, "You know what you should do?" And I was like, "What's that, dude?" This was like 7 months ago. No, probably a little bit more than that, like 8 months ago. And he was like, "You know what you should do?" And I was like, "What's that?" And he's like, "You know, you should go talk to Gavin." And I was like, "For what?" And he's like, he told me the story about when you guys he told me about how long you guys been married?
See here.
Almost a year.
Almost
Yeah.
9 months.
I think it was like I don't know if it was before you guys got married or like you were about to get married. It was around that time. And he was like, "Ask Gavin what he did." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Gavin, and he told me the story about the gingerbread house and how she came and you basically claimed her."
Yeah.
And he's like, "If you just work for God, bang." right there. And that was a long time ago. And I remember that, and he was like, so he's like, ask Gavin what he did. And so my question would be, what did you do? You know what I mean? Like, was there, obviously there was work to it, and I know for anyone that doesn't know what it's like to be a pastor kid, it sucks. And especially when you don't have any youth, it all goes on you and your brothers and sisters if you have any siblings. But was it like constant work, or was it like prayer, fasting?
Yeah, it was all that, like prayer, fasting, and then just like what our dad said. Like he said, just being a servant, and I was
Yeah.
just helping
Yeah.
out. Like people would ask me, "Hey, can you come do this? Can you come do that?" And just cleaning the church and all that.
Mhm.
Just doing whatever I can, just to be a help. And then I was like,
I
"That's
think-
gonna be my wife."
I think Orlando was like, yeah, bro. He told me about that too, and he was like, he claimed his wife when he first saw her. It was the second he saw her, he's like, that's gonna be my wife. And then he worked for God, and then
Yeah.
he was like, if you work for God, God will work for you. And you see the fruit of it, because they're married now, and they've
Yeah.
been happily married for almost a year, and it's just awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It's like it's just amazing. And then what they're gonna do now, and what their future's looking like, and it's just so awesome to just be a part of it,
Yeah.
And I've been here for around like 10 years, bro, and I've never seen this guy in my life. Never seen him ever.
Yeah.
And dude, the second we got here, dude, our family you just clicked, our brothers. And ever since, bro, it's just been it's been a journey, bro. And now we're all family in some
Yeah.
way.
Dude.
Like my brother's getting married to his sister, and it just feels unreal, Like I never thought I'd have any connection to these type of people, or the lifestyles, and everything's so different. But it's like God, he just arranged all this to
Amazing.
happen,
Yeah.
And it's just awesome. And I'm glad that I'm a part of you guys' family. I'm glad that you
Amen.
guys are a part of my family, and that we can call you brothers and sisters, because these guys, I'm telling you, these two, a lot of people don't see the struggle. A lot of people don't see what really goes on behind the scenes and the curtains. But
Yeah.
man, these guys work.
Mm.
And I know Gavin, I know what it's like to be a pastor kid, and it's not fun. And it's like, he did all that, bro, and he finally got his wife. He finally got and dude, it's just awesome, bro. Everything's awesome. And it's like, I guess another question would be, how, like, what would you say to someone in your shoes, essentially, or like in a similar situation, not like trying to find a girlfriend or anything, but like a similar situation of I get a sense of purpose, or in place, a question for both of you, like especially in your shoes as you were growing up.
Yeah.
I would just say, just keep living for God. Just don't give up
Mm-hmm.
on what he has planned for you, and always ask your pastor for a confirmation on something,
Yeah. It's true.
and don't, what do you call it, reject what he has to say over your life,
Yeah.
because he's a important role.
Yeah,
He plays a really big important role in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's facts.
I would say don't, people have feelings. People are like, oh, I like you, or I like you. Don't rush it.
Yeah.
It's a waiting game. You gotta wait. You gotta put your mind on God before you want to rush into liking somebody or dating somebody. Like, I was so into living for God and making my mind right for God before I even thought of
At the moment.
marrying him.
Yeah. That's crazy. Funny story, actually. This is actually kind of funny. So I knew the guy that she was with before, and
Yeah.
I saw him
I did too.
not that long ago. And I apologized to him, and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry for everything I've ever done to you, everything I've said to you. God changed my life, man.
Yeah.
And I started going to this church, and I really think you should start coming."
Yeah.
And dude, you know what he said to me? This is I was so flabbergasted. I didn't know what to say. He was like, "I'm never going to that church. Katelin goes to that church," and I was like, "Wow," you know. And now I think about it. This is why it's funny. Now I think about it, and he's like, "I don't think he wants to." Brother Gavin's like, just waiting. He's just waiting, and I'm just kidding. But I told him that, and I was just so stunned. I didn't know what to say. I was like, I was like, that doesn't matter, bro. I mean, what matters is God. And he was like, I found a church, and I was like, well, the invite's always there, bro, and I'm here for you. You know, you should come check out the church. It's awesome. And then he told me that, so I thought that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. I didn't know what to say. I was flabbergasted.
What's amazing to me is like, I mean, I'm gonna go off of this, like with Sister Erica. I mean, she was homeless to owning like 3 homes right now.
Yeah.
And the thing, like, you got kicked out of Green River to coming back and building a church there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of cool how God renews you guys. And like,
Yeah.
And the last
That's
thing you probably
amazing.
expected, I was gonna ask you that. It kind of went over my head, but like when you were, I guess in a sense you answered it. But when you came, so you came 2 years previous, right?
Mhm.
Was that just like you came one time and then, or
Never
was it
came back.
you never came back? So when you can like, how long ago was it when you started consistently coming back?
About it was not. It was a little after you guys came back.
Mm,
So about almost 2 years, a year
almost,
and a half.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's been like a year and 8 months.
Mhm.
I was working when she started coming.
Mhm.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I was
You went to
down
work
in-
for that first
I was
time.
down in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had no service. Crazy thing, I had no service up there. And the only thing that came in when I started climbing around the truck to see if everything was good was her text through
wow.
Instagram. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the only thing. Not even a text from like my dad, my mom, my sisters, Orlando, nothing. It's just hers.
And it was through Instagram.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like,
So the last thing you expected was obviously to get with Gavin, but I mean, I guess could you share your experience coming back to church, or I guess when you finally that wasn't the first service you went to, right? Or
Yeah,
was
it
It was?
Mhm.
Wow. So how was that experience?
So I came back right after I turned 19. So when I came back, I was searching for God. Like I needed him more than anything.
Mhm.
Like after having an eye opener with getting hit by a semi,
Yeah.
like not many people live that.
Yeah.
I've had so many people tell me, "How did you live?"
Especially on the sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a very nice place.
And so after I came back, I was like, okay, like I'm not looking for a relationship. I don't want anything because I just got out of a really bad situation that I was in with an ex, and I didn't want anything to do with that. And so I was like, I'm just going to search for God, and I ain't even worried about it. I'm going to make my main priority for live for God. And I got baptized 2 days after I came back, and I got the Holy Ghost not out that long after, and I was just like, okay, let's get this. Like, I want this to go. Like, I want to search. I want to be in God's house, and I don't want to be anywhere else.
I have a question about that. You said you grew up in like kind of like loosey-goosey type churches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when you walk in an apostolic church and it's your first time ever experiencing that, you know, you got people speaking in tongues, and
Yeah.
it's a lot like that's different and new, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, how was that for you? And
So when I first walked in to a service day, I was like, whoa. Like, my chest was heavy,
yeah,
and I was like freaking out on the inside. I was like, maybe I'll go home. But so after I sat down and I was like, okay, like, this is weird,
Mhm.
but it's a good weird. It's
Yeah.
not a okay, this is freaking me out kind of weird.
Like freedom weird.
It's a freedom weird. And so after the service was over, I was like, whoa. Like, my mind was literally blown. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there, like, in shock because I've never prayed. I've never spoke to God. I've never got a hold of God. It was kind of just like, okay, you sing the songs, you sit down, you listen, then you go home. Not that one. Everybody came up to me. Everybody's so friendly. And I'm not a people person.
Yeah.
Like, I am a people person, but I'm not. Like, I want my distance, but I'm not a hugger.
That's the thing. Like I remember, like, I mean, the lifestyle I was living. I mean, and the friend groups and this and that, and the people I associated around. I mean, we hung around like almost the same friend group with
Yeah.
the same type of people, and like antisocial, kind of
Mhm.
like not really doing too much, and
Mm-mm.
like wilding out, and partying, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I mean, like when you get in like that, you really like, I don't know, like you get a sense where like you wouldn't really like go out and dance like that, or like
Mhm.
do nothing crazy,
Yeah.
or like like smile all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, cause I remember always being like that, and you probably were too.
Yeah.
You know, cause I get it. And I don't know, like what would you have to say to people like us, that were in that situation, that aren't really social, that
Mhm.
don't like, what I'm saying, that what I'm saying, did the drugs, this and that, and
I would say, one, don't give up.
Mhm.
Like, I know doing drugs, I know falling is hard.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing growing up, is depression and feeling how you look. But some people turn to drugs because it's like, oh, I like that feeling, or
Yeah.
oh, I like the depression to go away, or
Mhm.
oh, I don't want that feeling.
Yeah.
But I would say let it go and get into contact with somebody, not even to like fully be like, hey, come to church, or hey, you need this. Just be like, hey,
Be
I
real.
am here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna leave because you're doing drugs or you're out partying. Like, I'm still gonna stick by your side no matter what you're feeling like or what you're going through.
Like that's what a lot of people really need and are seeking in those situations. But I mean, going off of that question, and when you're like that, entering like an atmosphere where everybody's dancing, and it's like really like super positive,
Yeah.
and like
Mhm.
the freedom of the liberty, and like going crazy in the Holy Ghost,
Yeah.
is like what we have. Like, I guess my question is more like, if you have any friends or buddies, that lived in that old lifestyle, and they started coming to the church, you know what I'm saying? They're antisocial. They ain't really gonna like, the first thing they're gonna do is not like hit the boogie,
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, what would you say to them? Like, why you really like seeing the purpose of just praising, or like singing, and like really letting, like smiling, and stepping out of the antisocial stuff.
When you step out, it's a whole different feeling.
Yeah.
Like, drugs make you happy, drugs make you sad, but this is always happy. Always, it's out of your comfort zone for sure, but
Yeah.
it's not, hey, like, I can't do that. Like, I'm too shy or I'm too uncomfortable. Just step out, step forward, come to the altar. Like, that's my main thing when I communicate with people or when new people come, is get them to the altar. It doesn't mean they have to praise right away
Mhm.
or they have to pray right away. It means get them to that altar. Because once they step at that altar, it's like everything pours out. Like, it doesn't matter if they're saying anything, but everything will pour out.
Yeah, I've seen that happen in so many people.
Yeah.
It's like when you just bring them to the house of God, and it's like you let God do the rest of the work. And it's like I've brought people, and then I literally went, dude, stone cold face, bro. Like the whole sermon, the whole service, the whole every time, and then it was a particular person. I went up to him and I was like, dude, I know God. I know God wants to move in your heart. He's like, yeah, bro, I'm gonna cry right now, and he was dead stone face, man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was like, do it. I was just like, do it.
Yeah.
It's so That's good.
That's the
That's really
freedom of
good.
it, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like real joy. It's like not even. It's not just happiness. It's joy.
Yeah.
It's
you,
awesome.
you drop the mask or the
Yeah,
serious
dude.
face.
Yeah.
I think it was. I don't know how long we were here. It was a couple months we were here before you got here and
Mhm.
before you came back. And it was like she came in like a puzzle piece, bro.
Yeah.
It was like she was
Mm.
here every day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was like God was like I've heard Pastor tell me like he was I guess you could say equipping us with like, you know,
Help.
yes. So when like when Ben came and then I came and then Nate came and then Sister Katelin came and then a bunch of other people came and it was like just building a foundation for what we have now. And now
Yeah.
it's like when she came in and it was like I knew her before, but it was like
Yeah.
when she came in now it was like just it was just right, you know
It was
what I
like a
mean?
miracle work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it's crazy. It's awesome.
God is good.
God is very good.
Do you guys have any I mean, any little testimonies or anything like crazy? Or like God blessed you with a new car or like something miraculous or anything like that? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd have to think. I just go day by day, and then I just don't remember the day that just happened the other day. You know what I mean?
No, that's good,
it's
bro.
like, I don't know. I just have to think.
They're blessed,
But-
bro.
oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to
Always.
kind of talk about something recent that has happened, but everybody knows, but not everybody knows the full story.
Mhm.
So after we got married and we were living our life
Yeah.
and we come back and we were headed to, I think, Lagoon, and I found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
And I kept going to like doctor visits and blood works and everything like that. And nobody could find out what was wrong with me. Everybody kept saying, you were pregnant, like your levels are going up, but they can't see it in my stomach. And I was like, how do you not see a baby that's in my stomach? Like, it was the weirdest thing. And he was out at work, and this was the time that he was gone for 12 days or something like that. Come home for a day and leave again.
Yeah.
And so he knew, but he didn't know. And so they were bringing a doctor from out of state in to see if he could figure out what was wrong. And the first thing he said was, you have an ectopic pregnancy. So it's when you're pregnant, but it didn't fully go through all of its working. And that's why they couldn't see it in my stomach, is because it wasn't in my stomach. It was in my tubes, which is, I don't know how to explain the tubes, but
Fallopian.
yeah. So when you're older, you have to get your tubes tied for a woman. And that means you can't have babies for long or ever. And so they told me that if they waited any longer, I would have had my tubes tied and I wouldn't have had babies.
Wow.
Yeah.
And before we got married, I was always told that I can't have kids. Well, I can't have my own. And at first I was like, okay, I don't believe you. It's just a mythic or something like that. And so when I saw the positive, I was like, what? Like, it blew my mind. But when they told me that, I had to go get surgery. And the surgery process was hard because, like, after you have surgery, like, you don't look at yourself the same. Because I had to get 3 holes in my stomach that they had to go in and remove it, and then I was no longer pregnant. But that didn't still, like, people let having surgeries or letting, like, your home life affect how you are at church or how you are out in public. But I never really showed it.
I actually never knew like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of weird because people are like, "You had surgery? You went through that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then not that long or before that, I was taking care of a 2-year-old. And I took care of him for almost a whole year. And pastor told me it's either you give him up and you could have your own kids, or you keep him and still struggle with what you're struggling with now. Because having a 2-year-old, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's like, it's always going to be fun because it's a kid.
Yeah.
But fighting with the mom and dealing with that part, if it was just a kid, it was no big deal. But to deal with the mom on top of that was not fun. It was always fighting with her, or always, I couldn't go out in public with him, or I couldn't do anything because it was always her way or no way. And we added it up, and it was like $28,000 or something that she would owe us in just childcare. That's not including everything we've bought him and stuff like that. And so he told me, tell her that she owes you that money or she's keeping it. And to hear that come from our pastor's mouth, that's hard. Because I just took care of this kid for almost a whole year. I love this kid more than anything. But we let him go. And we'll see what happens.
Wow. That's crazy.
God knows what he's doing.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's you know, I actually never knew you were going through any of that, you know, and you know,
Yeah.
most people would kind of like shout that everywhere, you know, but that's.
But for all the women that are going through things like that, it's like, I know it's kind of like miscarriages. Everybody's heard of miscarriages. And when you think of, I had a baby and it got taken out of me, that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
But you got to think of what's going to come. Maybe it was the wrong timing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I had to let go of one thing to get another blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's going to bless us. And I know he is blessing us.
Yeah.
You guys are like actually a light, you know, to the church, and you know, to me, you know, and I'm actually very blessed with, you know, just to be associated with you guys, or you know, be near you guys.
I told Gavin, I saw him at the store one time, and I told him, I was like, you see, bro, now every time I have a problem, or like when I get married, or when Ben gets married, or anybody that gets married pretty new, just go to him. You know what I mean?
You're a pretty chill dude too, man. Like, I don't know, like it's pretty good to talk with people that are like ain't like really like worrying too much about like a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, I'm like analytical. Like I look at like, you know, and I like I drive myself crazy sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, sometimes I'll go to you and you'd be like, yeah, dude.
What's up?
You'll be so like, you know what I'm saying? That's I like that. That's a good influence to be around, and you know, I need to get some of that on me, you know, because you know, I drive myself crazy up there, you know. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys would like to share, or?
I don't think so.
Well,
I think that's it.
Man, like this was a huge blessing. I hope somebody who's listening right now gets blessed by this, and I hope this, you know, God uses this to really touch somebody. And
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming.
Oh yeah,
Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I like
There
we have to give 2, bro. Hold up.
He just thought of the money, bro. He's like,
I'm used to giving 1. It's a little dusty in there, but
Oh, that's all right.
Here you guys.
Thank you.
Bestowing the
how much do
the
those cost
Testify
on the
mode.
Testify?
$20.
He's like, $40. Let's go.
I mean, they ain't
just
that bad to get them, but selling them, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, Hope you guys enjoy your coffee and those.
Oh, we will.
They'll make
Really?
it.
Anointed cups of
Anointed
coffee.
cups.
Yeah.
It'll taste way better, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously. All right. Well, seriously, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Hope everybody's gonna have a blessed day who's listening. And goodbye.